One of the side effects of Cptsd is hypervigilance. By definition, hypervigilance is the state of being highly or abnormally alert to potential danger or threat. Someone suffering this may have sleep disturbance, irritability, hypervigilance, obviously, be easily startled, and be battling PTSD flashbacks or Cptsd emotional flashbacks. This happens because the alarm system in your brain is malfunctioning due to trauma. If you think about an alarm system on your home, it's something separate, it's something additional to your home. Well, all of us are equipped with a built-in alarm system, a built-in security system in our brain called the limbic network. When trauma gets stuck or lodged into our brain and we haven't been able to integrate and process it, it can so strongly affect the limbic network to the point that the security system becomes overloaded and overreactive. This is understandable if the Cptsd you're experiencing is because of prolonged chronic emotional manipulation or abuse. Living with toxic individuals whose whole goal in life is to provoke and extract a negative emotional response from you forces you to feel as if every day you're walking through an emotional minefield. Literally anything and everything can and will be used against you and will cause an explosion with no warning whatsoever. Living like that for a prolonged period of time causes your alarm system to seriously malfunction. Tell me if this resonates with you. While living in that unsafe environment, your limbic network was suddenly, constantly on high alert, seeking and searching for anything that might disrupt your safety, either physically or emotionally. You were no longer living your life. No, you began to simply avoid danger. Every day started and ended with the same ruminating thoughts. What's his mood today? What do I have to do to make sure she doesn't explode? If I do this, he'll get mad. If I talk with a close friend or family member that I love, she'll start a fight. If I'm happy, he'll get angry and insultive. If I do something that I enjoy, she'll tell me that I'm selfish. Every minute of life became a strategic attempt to avoid anger, the silent treatment, insults, or worse. The alarm system in your brain became turned on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, flooding your body with stress hormones like cortisol. Imagine how disruptive your life would be if you were living in a home with a faulty alarm system that was constantly blaring 24/7. You wouldn't be able to concentrate or feel at peace inside. You would get no sleep. It would be nearly impossible to enjoy the company of a dear friend or family member. You would be irritable, and rather than enjoying life at home, you would be simply tolerating it. Something similar happens when the alarm in your limbic system is blaring 24/7. But what makes the matter worse is that the initial trauma creates a biasing imprint in the limbic network. And once that happens, almost anything can then become categorized as a threat. So what happens is that our body and our mind start manifesting more and more symptoms of stress. Let me illustrate how that happens. Let's say you're driving in the car with a toxic individual. And I've done videos on how malignant narcissists love to use the car as a place for emotional torture since you're closed in and you can't leave. So let's say that during the ride, somewhere along the middle of the ride, you're driving over a bridge and you're feeling extremely anxious due to the stress of the ride. Since your limbic network is faulty right now and views everything as a threat, it could suddenly associate your current state of anxiety with driving over the bridge. The next thing you know, you suddenly develop a fear of going over bridges, even though you never had that fear before. Since you notice the state of anxiety and panic in your body going over the bridge, now you're nervous about why you're suddenly experiencing this new fear in your already stressful life. So you get to your destination and you meet up with a group of friends, And because your body is so flooded with stress hormones, and you've been living in such an anxious state, and your limbic system has just alerted you of a new surprising fear, you're in that heightened state of anxiety, and suddenly you have a panic attack out of nowhere. Now your anxiety is through the charts. You're anxious at home. Driving becomes too scary. Forget about going over a bridge. And now the thought of being in the company of others, even people who at one time were good friends, becomes too frightening. The fears keep growing and growing because your limbic network no longer has the ability to relax and turn off. When this happens, it is the most frightening experience. It's almost like your mind is developing a mind of its own. And what's worse is if you're still in a relationship with a malignant narcissist, they will use these new fears as a way to try to prove to everyone, including yourself, that they're not the problem, you are. To top it all off, even if you manage to break out of the toxic relationship that's creating all of this anxiety, whether it's a significant other, a friendship, or a work relationship, the limbic network is not like a rubber band. It doesn't simply spring back to normal. Your brain will stay stuck in this heightened state of hypervigilance, fear, and anxiety until you learn how to turn off the alarm. Now think about someone's home security system. We can't will it to turn off, right? The only way to turn it off is with the correct combination. Well, our limbic system doesn't have a secret combination, thankfully, but there are a combination of things that we need to do in order to get back the executive functioning of our mind so that we can go back to being the person we truly are. The good news is that I'm going to share tips with you, tips that really work. And how do I know they work? Well, because I'm not talking about this just because it's an interesting topic, although I think it is. I'm talking about it because I experienced it. And I know how crippling it is to live with a faulty limbic network. I know what it does to your life, but most importantly, I know how to break out of it. And that's what I'm going to share with you right now. Diaphragmatic breathing is the fastest way to calm your nervous system. Diaphragmatic breathing is like the brake on your car. If you feel like you're driving too fast and at that high speed you feel like you're losing control of your car, the first thing you do is touch the brake. You start bringing that car under your control. Well, diaphragmatic breathing does the same thing with your nervous system. Unfortunately, most people only begin to apply this at the moment that their hypervigilance is at its highest point. And trying to come down from such a heightened state of anxiety is really difficult. Or only attempting to apply diaphragmatic breathing at those high points isn't going to be powerful enough to calm your nervous system. That would be like somebody wanting to work out once a week and expect to see results. The key to healing is to make diaphragmatic breathing an everyday part of your life. As soon as you wake up, take 2 to 3 diaphragmatic breaths and allow yourself a moment to feel how it feels to be relaxed at that moment just after finishing. Before you eat, take 2 to 3 diaphragmatic breaths while driving to work, and definitely before bed. In order for you to retrain your nervous system, you can't do this exercise once a week or even once a day. Engaging in diaphragmatic breathing several times throughout the day, every day, is what will retrain your nervous system. There's a deep need to turn your irritation at yourself into genuine self-compassion. When we first experience hypervigilance and all the stress and anxiety that comes with it, it is so easy to get angry at yourself, to get frustrated at the new challenges you're facing and how they're affecting your life, to feel afraid of the next thing your brain is going to get scared of. The problem is that irritation and anger strengthen the broken limbic network. The more we repeat things like, I used to be so comfortable driving over bridges, or being around people, and now I'm so scared. Or, I hate that I can't drive over bridges. I hate that I'm so uncomfortable around people. The more we repeat things like that, we're actually accidentally strengthening the neurology that causes us to feel fear and anxiety. The more we stare at the damage that's done due to this faulty network, the more our brain takes notice of it and stays alert to danger. Compassion breaks the energetic reaction to what is happening in our lives. The less importance we give the hypervigilance, the easier it will be for our brain to calm down. This isn't easy, I know that, but it is so powerful, and if you're willing to apply it, you'll begin to see a change. Imagine you see a small child, and you see that that child is extremely afraid of something that really there's no need for fear. Getting angry at that child, getting frustrated at that child, showing your irritation to that child, is that going to help the child overcome the fear? No, it actually has the reverse effect. Now the child feels more fear and more anxiety. But treating that child with compassion and love is what helps soothe the child and give that child courage. Well, it's the same thing with our limbic system network. Our limbic system is almost like a young child that is extremely afraid and frightened of its own shadow at this moment. The more compassion you can give yourself while you're healing, the more courage you're going to feel. Number 3, become a detective. Make a list of the triggers. Usually the first trigger sets off a chain reaction that feels impossible to break out of, and that's called the limbic system trauma loop. For example, let's say you're going to a public situation, and on the way there, a thought enters your mind. What if I can't talk normally? What if I have a panic attack? What if someone can tell that I'm anxious? Imagine if one of those thoughts comes into your mind. That one thought can be a trigger that sends you spiraling down. They're going to think this of me. They're going to think that of me. I used to be so calm. I used to be normal. I hate myself. I can't believe I'm like this. Why did this have to happen to me? And each thought creates more stress and more anxiety. And by the time you get to the social event, your body is already prepared to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what's the point of making a list of your triggers? Well, the first thing is because it's important to change the approach with how you feel about your triggers. For example, most of the time we are afraid of those triggers. We try to outrun them, we try to hide from them, we try to stifle them. But what we resist persists, and they just come up over and over again, almost worse with each time they come up. So when we have a list of our triggers and we know what they are, the first step in becoming this detective and using this to heal is to start looking for them and change the emotional reaction that you have to them. In the past, seeing a trigger might have brought up anger and frustration, but now you can view it as, yes, here's an opportunity to practice. Here's an opportunity to heal. Here's an opportunity to work on my limbic system network. And we change that negative emotion to something positive. Once you notice one of the triggers and you change how you feel about that, now you're actually looking forward to it, the next step is to stop the loop from fulfilling its circuitry. So once you know all of your triggers, whenever one comes up, and you're going to be looking for all of them with curiosity and with excitement at the opportunity to heal, okay? So when one does come up and you see it, the next step is doing something to break the loop. Some people have a rubber band around their wrist and they flick it and repeat a statement like, "Be gone, thought." Others learn a statement like, "Stop, stop, stop. My brain is stuck in a rut and it's sending me false messages." Others use an NLP technique of changing modalities, and they hear a phrase in a silly voice.
I see this thought, but I love and accept myself no matter what.
It doesn't matter what or how you say it, as long as you find something that works for you that enables you to break the loop. And then be prepared to do this every day as often as possible. The more times you can break the trauma loop from finishing its circle, the quicker you can break out of limbic system loops. Number 4, remind your body of what calm feels like. When we're stuck in hypervigilance, our brain has memorized the chemicals needed to feel anxiety, fear, stress, etc. To think of stress and provoke emotions within becomes second nature. In fact, it becomes so easy that it happens without your consent. Right? Nobody tries to feel anxious, it just happens. Nobody tries to have a panic attack, your body just brings it about. To feel peace and happiness feels like the biggest struggle in life. Well, in order to get back to that state of calmness, we actually have to remind our body what it feels like. One way to do this is make a list of your favorite memories and then rehearse them in your mind in the first person. In other words, see the memory as if it were happening now in the present moment. And then spend time bringing up the good emotions that memory is associated with. Feel the peace running through your body. Feel excitement. Feel happiness. Remind your body how to get there by spending time remembering your positive memories and all of the emotions that they bring up. Laugh. When I was stuck in hypervigilance, I don't know how long passed with me not really laughing. All I know is that I didn't laugh. I was too stuck in hypervigilance to laugh. In order to heal, we can't wait for the body to be ready to laugh again. That will never happen. When it comes to trauma, we have to reverse engineer our healing. We have to think greater than our feelings and find things to laugh about, even when the body prefers to stay anxious, fearful, and/or angry. Laugh daily. Allow the positive and happy hormones to override the stress hormones in your body. Make it your goal to find things that make you laugh. Videos on YouTube, memes, TikToks, your kids, your pets. It doesn't matter what the source is, as long as it's able to make you laugh from deep within. And then make sure you do that daily. Again, it's the everyday things we do that create lasting change. So those are 5 tips that can really help if you're battling hypervigilance. Please know that I have been there. I know how hard it is. I know that these tips are a lot easier said than done, but I also know that they work. And if I can break out of hypervigilance, so can you. If you'd like one-on-one assistance, please visit my website and I would be honored to assist you personally on your healing journey.